All right.
Okie doke. So, okay, so yeah, so sub 1%. So what's at the top of this? What am I looking at? Sorry. I mean, I know I'm looking at perf, but
Okay, so this was when I first created the PR. I had put up a commit which was just make sure boards try work if the feature was enabled by default.
presumably this like 2001 date is totally wrong.
Yes, that is okay. I'll just pull up the PR. I guess that makes it easier. But
Yeah.
so this thing is missing the recent changes that you requested during review.
Yeah, but those were like
But
tiny. Okay.
yeah, but mostly it's just like made sure that I can run boards test if I disable this, which is the initialization step. So this is the perf result out of that. So this is where we handle the case where the feature gate is not set, and we want to handle cases like let underscore equals x at least gets captured.
I see. So this is a perf result if the feature gate is enabled.
Yes. Yes. So this is.
Got it. Okay. So this is not like the effect of landing this is PR.
Yes, it is not exactly that. Yes. So we might want to run one, but if this gives an idea, then.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the worst case, right? Like it's typically more work, I would think.
Maybe. Yes and no, depends, I guess. Like the other thing has an initialization step. This has an extra, since it's not initial. Yeah, I guess this is probably on the lower end. I remember writing something up. Hold on. Okay, so okay, realistically comparing, we don't have an initialization step. So what we are landing right now is technically a little worse than this one. At the same time, overall in the future, this will get a little better because we'll end up removing the bridge. So we'll lose one extra step, which right now is we don't want to modify the rest of the compiler to handle this yet.
Okay, yeah, go back now.
Yes.
Was there anything that was outside that window of like 1 or 2%?
Yes, but I don't see them here right now, which is the concerning part. So I sent an image, which is like, so some of these are concerning, but these are really small numbers. So any like minor changes are severely exaggerated.
Yeah.
I do not know why these are here. Also, this might be wall time. This was, I think, wall time. So
wall time is like meaningless.
So yeah, I think it was just exaggerated on multiple levels. And
it looks pretty fine.
Yeah.
That's my expectation. I didn't think this didn't look like a major perf impact unless there was an unexpected, I would probably make it. I would probably make it roll up equals never, just so we can isolate it more easily.
Okay.
But also for ice like bisection.
Yeah.
But
Okay, sounds good to me. All right. I'll stop sharing this. Maybe share. So I looked at some of the stuff and.
I think I already got plus it. Other than I don't know if you saw my one request.
I wanted to put the names in as well, but I think we had discussed that it might cause a lot more trouble reviewing changes if we do change how we name things or like print definition IDs and stuff. So that is why I didn't end up putting them in.
The names?
Wait, the one that you requested was like put something about log. Oh, we're using span. Never mind. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, I misread. So there was another.
How I was misinterpreting the results was I saw the span highlighted and I thought it was part of that closure, but it was actually part of the outer closure. Is that
I think
right?
it was both. So like since
right. It was twice, but I didn't understand why it was there twice because.
Yeah. Okay, and you have comments around. So there's
one other thought I had on that note. If you wanted to condense the output, what you could do, which might be useful, is to create one error and add span notes for each capture. So like one error for the closure. This is what I originally had in mind, actually. And then span notes for every capture with the span and then the capture string. Sort of, we captured X because.
I'll take a look into this. And I think also
overall.
Yeah, I think I also recently learned there's something called multi-span, so that might be nice as well. I'll take a I don't know if that's how.
That allows, I don't think that's what you want here.
Okay.
I think you want to have distinct labels on each span where you're saying
Okay.
capture this with a mute borrow because of this span, something like that.
Okay.
If there were
Okay.
two spans if you wanted to show two distinct spans for the same label, I think then multi-span is more appropriate.
Okay. Actually, I should have not stopped sharing my screen. I can go. I added a couple more issues
Yeah, let's look at that.
to the project board. These are still not around like Tiher and Mer, but
I guess we didn't quite resolve. I'm trying to remember where we left the.
so the place where we left the let underscore was that you said we can sort of move some of this work into more around using place builder, because you can have some under constructed places or places that are under construction.
Yes,
So
right. So I think, okay, so the first problem was, now it's coming back to me. Maybe I should look at Zulip real quick, but T here can't express
the pattern stuff properly.
Right, and
well, it doesn't.
We decided we just have
them.
to extend T here for that. Is that right?
I thought we like okay, so the last thing in the meeting was, and I reviewed it like last night, was you wanted to use the place builder that's in Mer and use the fact that some places might be under construction. So use that.
So yeah, okay. I'm looking at the HackMD we had.
So I think you left a double X or something somewhere. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Yeah.
I left it here.
Okay.
Or maybe in the other one. Oh yeah, here.
Yeah. If you scroll to the bottom right, there are 3 solutions, only one of which seems really viable.
Sorry, this is being slow. Yes, give me 1 second. So there was this bit. So you wrote this at the very end and basically said you might have to do this in more. And the reason behind this was exhaustiveness checking for patterns, which both in happens in Mer and not Tiher. So basically, we don't want to desugar patterns in Tiher because, or move this logic there because it's critical. We might make mistakes, and so the idea was we kind of moved that logic into. At least that's what I remember being the last bit of the meeting.
That's right, and I think the outcome of this is that T here depends how we want to define partial path, but I think what it would be saying is that T here, right now, T here desugars upvar references into a field access of self.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we're saying is that would move out of T here and into mirror building. Yes,
I think that's what I understood. I still think we need to do some parts in T here, especially handle this non-existing upvar. So again, the end thing we had was like we forget about the let underscore issue, and we do the partial path and see if we can handle it. The problem is we need to handle this in T here at least to some extent, because otherwise T here will mark this as a local.
I'm not sure we do. I think T here, there's 2 options. One of them is that, so T here we might add a upvar variant to T here.
Okay.
Which references the def ID or whatever, the here ID, I guess, of the local from the outer, outer scope. And that it would just, if we did it this way, you would just always generate an upvar. It would sort of be like today's model. No matter what the minimum captures are, you would always generate an upvar reference. It would probably not be desugared, so it wouldn't take into account by ref or by whatever. It would just be a reference upvar, kind of like it is in here, basically. And the reason for that, and then it would become Mir's job to
get rid of the ones that are not really used, or
and the idea would be then that right. So when you get into Mir, you would see an upvar reference, and we'd have to check the capture information for the closure
Mhm.
to figure out at what point we can change a path that begins with an upvar. Like at some point, there's some place that we're building, and it begins with an upvar, and it can get converted into a concrete field reference.
Mhm.
But it doesn't. It would occur along the way, and there's probably an assertion like it may never happen in the case of a non-existent upvar, but that should never, like mirror building should never require it to happen. In other words, do you see what I'm saying?
Some parts of it, yes. Sorry, I was concerned about one thing, but I think it's resolved. But basically, if you want to capture everything like the today's model does, we would probably have to use. I was thinking initially we might have to use upwards mention, but what we really can do is just just put an extra check, which is like, oh, if this is not in closure captures but was an upwards mention, just still return an upward type, like you were just suggesting. If we want, okay, and what I did last night was kind of mark places where this will end up handled. So let me just pull that up, and maybe that adds a little bit more clarity to this. Give me 1 second. Where's the item? Okay, there's that. Sorry. Okay, that works. So, and I guess I can just do. Okay, so that so one place that we kind of end up around this one is basically where we, and I guess this is where this sort of ends up if we have an FN mute closure, which will at the end go over here. So we just, as long as we refer to ourselves, I'm assuming this just means self is just the first.
Oh, I see. I got a little bit distracted. Okay, this is referring to.
Like at the end, this is where the closure will end up because you need to refer to self. So there's that, and
this is mirror building.
This is mirror build, and there's this other part which was okay. That is as already. So yeah, so this is where we really construct closures in mirror. Is we go over all the operands, we see if it's a place. So this would be a by value capture, and we create instead of creating a temporary, we just create a place and we consume it right away. So what I was thinking was,
wait a second, I'm reading. What code are we looking at here? Oh, this is this is construction of a closure. Is that what this is?
Yes, this is what that is. So
okay, yeah, go on. Yes.
So what I'm trying to understand is how would this part really look around here? So this closure basically captures x.0.0 and x.0.0.1. So I guess this thing and this thing, assuming but let's just assume it captures this thing regardless of what x is. I got it too nested and it's confusing me now. So what I was thinking was this turns into something like we basically have a consume for x.0.0, which we and then everything kind of references itself from there. That's sort of something I was picturing. Or even if we don't have this, it just basically, like this will come down to what we were discussing the other day was we figured out that, okay, at least some of the partial path that we're dealing with is already captured. So we have a complete upper of sorts. Right. My concern is how does that really end up looking and more like.
Right. So there's two. Why don't we switch over back to the HackMD for a moment?
Okay. Do you just want to drive?
You just share it. Just keep your sharing, but I'm going to type on my side a little bit.
Okay. Let me open the hack. Yeah. Okay. I have it open.
If I can find it.
I can send a link again.
Got it. Okay. So.
Oh, you go.
Wait. You're not. Can you share it so it's?
Oh yeah. Let me share my. Yeah. That good point. That works. Yes.
Great. Okay. So I think there's two parts we have to consider. There's like constructing the closure, and then there's accessing
Converting the
uppars from within the closure, right?
Yes.
And you were. I'm not quite sure which one you'd rather talk about first. First one.
I'm more concerned about the second because the first one seems a little, I don't want to say trivial, but it kind of feels simpler than the other.
Yes,
assuming we get our.
One, I think that's right. The first one I think is fairly trivial. Like the current code that you were just looking at, you know, it makes a closure R value, and for each capture, it references a particular local variable.
Place.
What we would need to do instead is to reference the place. Right?
Yes.
So accessing uppars, this is a good one. So the basic strategy I have in mind, let's assume, first of all, we extend T here with a uppar node.
Okay.
And I think we can remove, in that case, the self thing.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but I think that's true. I think that's only used for closures.
Okay.
If that's the case, it can be removed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What is the name? Here it is. Actually, maybe I should share because I want to pull up another.
Yeah, I think it might be easier. Let me stop now.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. I'll just shut up what I wanted to share and jump back to share screen. Okay. All right. So, right. So here's the T here expression kind. And what I'm basically imagining is that we'll have an up var ref that looks exactly like var ref.
Okay.
So and that means that, let's go to our example.
We can just assume that we capture, some level of precise spot. Okay,
yeah. Let's. I think I think it's worth.
Yeah, adding one level of.
Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
I forget how it was. Let's assume somehow that
yeah.
You know.
Okay.
We don't know what the whole closure is, but suffice to say that it captures x dot 0. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're going to look at this reference that is x dot 0 dot 1. So so what happens then? We right, the T here for this looks like up var ref x. Looks like field 1, field 0, up var ref x. These are sort of bullets. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You understand the notation I'm using here?
Yeah.
Okay. And then so what will happen in the mirror construction? And part of the reason I wanted to share is that I wanted the ability to refresh my memory on how this stuff works. But let's first take a little bit of a segue to talk about mirror places. So a mirror place, as you probably know, represents some place in memory.
Yeah.
And
it's essentially her place just a bit more, like, I guess, properly explained and
Yes.
yeah.
It's more, yeah, exactly. And so just like here place, it begins with a local. It has some list of projections. And as it happens, this list is interned.
Yes.
Now, that's not, particularly interesting, except for the fact that as a result of it being interned, we added this thing called place builder for making places. And the idea of place builder is that you have a vector that can grow. And then only once you know the full place do you go and intern it, right?
Yeah.
That's relevant to our example because let's say this were a normal reference for a moment. We would so if up var ref were a normal local, the way mir would work, we would kind of convert in this as place function. Why be annoying?
You can use source, I think. All right, I guess that works.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's an as. It might be in blog.rs. Give me 1 second. I was looking at this yesterday.
Okay. Is place builder the only code in here? No, surely there's like impulse. Yeah, okay. So right. So expression as place is the relevant method. And you can see that it takes a T here expression and returns a place builder. This link is not going to last very long, but I'll copy it in there anyway.
Wait, is it we're moving that? Is that what you mean? Or
what?
You said that one?
No. It's just I don't like to make links that are two specific lines of code but are not
tied to okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But I have to just go to
there's a function name, so I think that's fine. I think that gives us an idea of what it is.
Right. What is this? As place.rs. So also there's always this problem. It's like a bug in GitHub or something where I don't know why, but I don't mir building doesn't show up in the fuzzy search. It's always been true, even as we moved it between crates. Very strange. Anyway, let me just pull this up because I'd rather read the code in GitHub anyway. So it looks prettier. Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying, now I can replace this with a proper link. What's going to happen? We're going to start with the field, right? Just here. We're going to convert that to a place, and we get a place builder, and then we're going to recurse, and we'll end up with a place builder here with an empty vector, or if this were a regular variable, with an empty vector and a variable. Then here we'll kind of append into the vector one field, and then we'll append into the vector again. And then at some point, this will actually get, you won't be in, as long as it's only expression as place, the same place builder just grows and grows and grows. But at some point you want to actually use that, right?
To a proper place.
Yeah, and then that's when we call into place, which converts it to a proper place, which does the interning and so
forth. Yeah.
Right.
Wait, do we start inside out? So do we start from up var ref and go build towards field one, or do we do? I mean, that's what kind of end up happening. But what does the call stack look like? Do we see field one and then we recurse and see field 0 and then up var ref, or do we actually see up var ref first and then field 0, field 1?
Yeah. So
it's the latter.
It works like this. We call expression as place on, let's give these names, n0, n1, n2, node 0, node 1, node 2. We call it on node 0, which recursively calls.
Okay, that's what I would expect.
On node 1, Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what you expect, but I'm just going to write it out. Returns
Yeah.
new place builder like X empty vector, you know.
Yeah.
And then this recursively, or yeah, this appends to place builder, so you get X0.
And then X01.
Yep, exactly. So forth. And then the point is that, right, and then like the caller of this, oops, is going to call into place. Okay, so how I imagine this working instead is that we will do something like, it'll get a little bit more complicated, but it's going to do something like this. Place builder will become some kind of enum.
Okay.
And instead of being created on a local variable, or it will be either starting with a local variable or starting with an upvar. Maybe it's not all of place builder becomes an enum, but just that field for the root of the path. Yeah.
Yes.
What is the name of that field?
It's called local, I think.
Okay, so it's gonna have to change its name probably, but yeah. So let's call it.
Let me just confirm that real quick. Or at least there's a function called local that sets the local field or something. Yeah, it's called local. Yeah.
So this would be like enum, local upvar. Upvar would probably be a here ID, I guess. So, but maybe not. We can come back to that. And the point would be then everything would kind of work the same way, except so we'll have this same
call stack sort of
general call stack. Oh boy. Okay. Call stack. But when we get into here, this will be like upvar x. And this will, I guess let's make our example just slightly more ridiculous.
Okay, yeah. And
so
then just put another bracket or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and assume it captures
x.0.0. Okay. Okay, I guess that's not important, but yeah.
I now messed up the example, but I think you
I get the idea. So that's
following with me. Yeah. So then this becomes, so at this point we would kind of still just append, and then sorry, there's like another level now, isn't there? Darn it.
I guess you can just leave similarly, and I think just put first state, the last state, and I think we get the idea.
Yeah, I think you get the idea, but let me just work it out just so I'm not like totally wrong. Okay. The point is, oopsie, at this point, we're going to get the actual capture we wanted was, yeah, sorry. Okay. So this appends 0. And at this point, we would append, but we notice that we now have, like, I guess it's whenever you append a field and it begins with an upvar, you check the current captures, something like that. We probably want some way to make this a little more efficient, but the dumbest version would just do it every time. And when you find a match, like, oh, we now have the exact path that corresponds to some capture, then we're going to replace it with a desugared place that is rooted in self. So that logic that figured out like, oh, what kind of capture was it? I have to add a star. I have to do that other stuff. That logic moves from T here into mir. So here we observe that upvar x01 is in our capture set. Hey, let's call it a by ref capture because that's what it would be in the example. Then maybe we generate, so we return a new placeholder, place builder. It's going to look like local 1 because that's the self. And then it's going to look like,
Whatever the field access would look.
yeah, it's probably, let's say this was the 0th capture.
Mhm.
So it's going to be field 0 and then star because it's by ref. So that would be like the equivalent of like star self-diax.
Can you turn the star? Can you replace star with dref there just so that it's a little less, just more? Yeah. Okay. So I guess one thing we also need to do is write some way of translating her projection list into, or projection type into more place element.
Yeah, you'll have to sort of, I mean,
I feel like the only ones that,
there
sorry,
would
go
be
ahead.
2 ways to do it. I mean, another way would be to make place builder actually move the enum a little bit out so that you're either building a here place or a mirror place or something. But I don't know. You have to play with the code a little bit about the best. I suspect you would. That might work. I have to look. The mirror places don't have a lot of what information. The mirror place doesn't have like spans or anything in it. So
Nor does her place.
yeah, that's what I was kind of. I was concerned that maybe there's more information. Like if you're building a place, you wouldn't have the information you need to make a mirror place. But I think that's not true.
I think we removed all of that.
Yeah,
That
so
was
that's
there.
fine. So
yeah, I think also the only ones we really care about are dref and field, because index access isn't really captured, not a subslice. So the only thing that matters is
it's pretty
field.
simple, really. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's an interesting question of whether like it's nicer to make place builder have 2 modes. It's either in mirror place or here place mode, and it starts in here place when you're doing up bars up until you find a match. That might work really well. But regardless, what's going to happen now, so this is then just like as above, right? And the main thing I was going to say is when you call into place, you know, it's a span bug. If this is not yet a mirror place. Now,
yes.
Now the problem we're going to encounter probably right away. Actually, I don't know. We have to look at how match construction works because that might be a problem.
I think I looked at that as well. Give me 1 second and let me see if I can find it.
Yeah,
give me 1 second. I mean, there's a whole folder called matches, but I think there's part of MER that just deals with patterns itself. So
I guess we only care about the invariant matches.
Yes, there's an irrefutable,
whatever it's called.
The irrefutable ones, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Give me one. I definitely looked at that. I guess I didn't comment on it.
The scrutiny thing. Well, we guess.
I think it's something. Sorry. It's called export into pattern. That's the name of the function. I am just trying to find where it goes. Okay.
Well, right. So
that is in matches mod.rs where that's defined.
Yeah, I'm wondering, there's going to be a little bit of like annoyingness, I suspect. I have to read this code a little more carefully, but I suspect we're going to have to modify some of the code in here so that instead of taking a place, it takes a place builder. Or we have some other that seems not too hard, but I'm worried about examples like this one. We'll have to look at what the code does, but I'm worried about examples like.
Oh, yes, I think I know it. Yeah.
So if it indeed calls and tries to convert this to a place, you might be able to get by with something actually simpler. Now that I take it back, instead of converting to take a place builder, it might work to convert this so that like, okay, let me just back up a second. The way that match works, more or less, let's see if there's a, where's the context? Okay,
I think
so
it's candidate that does it.
yeah, candidate is kind of what I wanted to look for.
Okay.
At the match kind of, I guess it's more match pair maybe, but it basically walks down the patterns and looks at what they're doing. And along the way, it keeps a place of like, what is the value currently being matched right here?
Mhm.
And, oh, is this gonna work? No, what I'm saying is not true. So here's what the point is, yeah, so I guess it is gonna need a place builder. Because you might have something like this, where what we've actually captured is x.1,
Mhm.
but it's not until we get into this subfield that we know that. So I think you really do need a place builder.
No, only X will get completely captured here, because when you match on X, it will capture X by ref, or at least that's what I remember. But I think last time we discussed that maybe that's not the case. But give me 1 second. I
remember us going back and forth on this. I don't remember where we were.
Yeah. The reason I'm a little confused is, oh, I do not
There's
have.
like a fake read or something, right? Which,
Yeah, if you go in expert use visitor, or I am fairly certain
there's a fake read of the scrutiny,
Mhm.
which suggests that when you match on something, you have to capture the whole thing. However, I remember us saying that sort of like, I'm a little confused. Let's do a number.
So I'm looking at the code in expert use visitor, and there's a read, which will, at least in capture analysis, make us think we need to capture the whole thing.
Okay. So at least for that, it's true. You know. The question is what I'm not sure about. I'm not sure whether, like, let's see, what does borrow check do here? Right, this is wrong.
So
So
this
borrow
one
check
it doesn't complain about.
code, which is
Unless you create a binding, then it will,
a little surprising. Is it? Yeah, if you make, but does it? How smart is it? What if there's like multiple?
Multiples also do not complain, if I remember correctly. Okay, that one I don't know.
Well, this should complain because this is actually.
Yeah, that's a read. Yeah, that's a read.
But
yeah,
like,
but if you put multiple wild patterns, I don't remember it complaining. Yeah, it just says, yeah, just exhaustiveness checking that.
Stupid borrow check is too smart. I don't know why or how exactly that comes to be true. I have to look. As long as we don't like, certainly if we capture all of X, it's okay for us to say closures. We need to like document this somewhere, but you know, if closures, if the analysis is not as precise as it could be, it's okay to me. So that it gets a read, you know, but it is something where changing it can affect the like, it's not like we get to change this freely in the future without new addition breakage, because it does affect when destructors run. So you probably do want to be
actually, I might be wrong. Let me just make sure. I might, sorry, let me just give me 1 second. I just want to, never mind, it does get used. Yeah, we do that. So I wasn't able to send it on here, but I sent it on Zulip. The screenshot of kind of what gets, how we do it.
Okay, so we definitely do yeah, we definitely treat it as though it's used. Why? Where's this fake read generated? Maybe it's part of lower.
I do not know if we do that, but at least in let statements, we can mark if patterns are wild, and maybe they might be getting.
We can't be getting into this code. Yeah, there must be something. There must be a special path.
Block.rs. Okay.
I think where are matches? Is it R value? Probably.
Possibly.
Operand. Sometimes it takes forever to find the thing. No, as temporary.
Let me just do a refref here. So wait, oh, I'm in the wrong.
No.
It's expert/into.rs.
No. Okay.
Line 56. Yeah.
No, that match expression, where is that?
No.
That's probably just in here.
I think that just might just be in matches. Yeah, that's in matches mod.rs.
Yeah, that's the code I was just looking at. Okay. So I don't actually understand why this is accepted. And I must be missing something, because I would have thought that this generates a fake read, which then would generate a compilation error. So presumably that's not true.
So I guess it's in this. It's like visit primary bindings, and basically we don't really do anything if it's a wild pattern. So
visit primary?
It's same files. It's visit_primary_bindings. So it's line 628.
Line 628.
Yeah, I do not know if there's this. Okay, yeah, this one. So basically, as you can see in every one of these, if we have a binding, if you have an array or anything, if you scroll down a bit, in wild, we don't really do anything. So I think it just skips over instead of doing an actual read.
Well, but no, because what is this function called? I don't think, I'm not sure about that, because I think this is not where this is not where I expected the read to come from. Where I expected the read to come from is here. When we're generating match expr, we're going to call lower scrutiny. Here's lower scrutiny, and it's going to push a fake read. And maybe it has something to do with this.
Oh, maybe.
And this is, it says here, something to do with, maybe this fake read, because it's for matched place, has special treatment in the borrow checker where it doesn't consider it a full read. That might be the case. So it doesn't, this is probably something to push for later. The fact that we add a read of matched places into is going to sidestep this problem for the time being.
Yes.
Which is good, because I definitely would want to push this out to a fix me. I think this is not the first PR.
Yeah.
What we eventually would want to do, if we wanted to remove that fake read or that extra access, let's call it, is I think we would eventually want to refactor this code to use place builder. It would basically be the exact same logic. We would just refactor this to use place builder instead of a fully generated place, which might even be better for various reasons. Because this is indeed building places. So like it might be. And then once that's done, we would it would be the same logic at the point where you generate a binding. You better have a real place, or else something went wrong somewhere along the way.
Yeah. Okay. Can you quickly go back to the HackMD? I just want to confirm one thing. Scroll up a bit, I guess. So when we do this convert to place, would we have any problem with as long as the place that's generated is precise? Will we have any issues with what is it called? Borrow checker? Like, again, I guess my question still, I feel like a little bit
so where
unanswered. So like just right around your hair. It's like right where we just discussed the Yeah. So where we call.
We just said
Mhm.
we'll want to carry or be refactored to use place builder or some
Enum.
enum that allows us to express here versus mirror. And maybe, if we decide to bring that enum out, well, I have another thought, but we'll come back to it. It's a minor
So
detail.
over here, yeah. So over here, when we do this upvar her ID, one thing that I'm a little concerned about, and if you scroll down, is like, even if we find, okay, we have this exact path, how do I refer to that path? Oh, never mind. Okay, I see. Yeah, I see we did that. Okay, no, it's good. It's good.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So importantly, the here place stuff never leaks out of mirror construction, right? When the mirror is built, there are no more here places or upvars or any of that stuff.
Yes. At least in the non-fix me case, there shouldn't be the stuff. Yeah.
At least what?
At least in the non-let underscore equals x case, because in that case, you'll never build the. Actually, no. Even in that case, we'll have an upvar x somewhere. So.
Yeah, it should never end up in the mirror. The mirror definition doesn't change, just the mirror builder.
Yes. Yeah.
What I was going to suggest, which is a kind of a minor point, but it might be useful in the future, depending how we do this. It might be useful. That turned annoying. So it might be useful to make a something like this.
Yeah.
And then we would have a or here place builder. And the reason that I'm saying this, and that's where the enum kind of comes in. A place builder wouldn't change, but this would. And then the reason that we might do that is that then in the matches code, like that's you could express you could express it kind of like that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's nice. I don't know. But that's
the matches one is for a let underscore equals x handling, so I think that's for later.
Right. I think it won't come up in the first PR, but my point is,
yeah.
My point is that we could, if it works out nicely, factor out the logic of tracking the possibility of being a here place from the logic of manipulating mirror places or building mirror places. And then we can apply it not only to place builder, like if we build it into place builder, then we have to refactor the matches code to use place builder. But if we separate it out from place builder into a wrapper type, then we don't have to do that. But I don't know which approach we actually want to take. I don't think it matters all that much.
Wait, I'm just a little confused on your last comment about I feel like if we do the or her place, that would only affect the parts where we use upper F, right?
So what I was suggesting here, let me sketch this in more detail. Hold on one second. So here's what I was suggesting. Above, or we have the expression as place function. Is going to change so that its return value is currently its return value is block and place builder. And so what I'm suggesting is there's basically two approaches today. The original approach was change place builder
Mhm.
to maybe be a here place.
Mhm.
And alternative approach is to change return type to block and
Maybe place.
maybe, yeah, or here place builder, which is starting to be kind of a little opaque.
Wait. Oh, is or here place just okay? It's a generic enum. Okay, that makes I missed the generic enum part, and that's what was confusing me.
Yeah. And then you would have some methods on this. This would be the main point of this would be that there would have
Like
to
you
be
can
some methods that like are useful that do
yeah.
do the logic of like
Mhm.
append. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
I I don't think this really matters. I would probably start with modifying place builder because it seems more natural.
Convenient. Yeah.
And when we go to do the match code, we'll either refactor it to use place builder or we'll refactor in some other way.
Mhm. When we capture the up bar ref in T here, we don't really like we create those T her expressions to do the self ref thing, but I guess all of that just goes away now, and we just
Yep. Yeah, and so let's do this like refactoring steps. I think first version
mhm,
would be remove the T here logic and replace with up bar ref.
mhm,
And in the same PR, extend mirror builder to convert up var ref into self.x. So at this point, you don't have to make the changes to place builder because we're not capturing partial paths yet. We're still capturing
yeah,
only entire variables. Once that lands, then so it's not really remove the T here logic, but you know what I mean.
it's
It's
just
going to
more
move
like move. Yeah.
and then extend place builder to cover up bars would be like the next step. I guess we would want like you could just
I
do you
I
could
think
just
these two need to
never use it. That's not that
yeah.
exciting. You can do it. It's a first refactoring. You know, and then the next logic will be to actually use it.
Mhm.
We'll have to modify closure construction, which we didn't talk about, but we agreed is not too hard.
Yeah. Wait, wouldn't the first require the second? Because if you're using up for refs, or when you say convert upwards, is it to convert them into like the or her place that we were talking about?
What is the first? You talking about this?
Yeah. So when the second,
Oh, I
sorry.
see. Yeah, I would extend T here with up var ref.
Yeah.
And remove the code that generates.
No, my concern is the second part that we have, which uses convert place builder converts up var ref. Would that not be part of? Wouldn't that not be required for like the mer builder to convert it into more places?
No, because you only need at this point we're still not capturing
Precise spots, yes.
so we can always convert an up bar ref into a mirror place in one
Oh,
step.
that's what that one is. Okay, that one is just like captured and not the upper refs. Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Because there is still a one-to-one correspondence between up bars and closure.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about up bar reps in the second one, and that confused me.
Right. So this would be just a plain refactoring to modify a place builder. This is probably not even a full PR, more like a commit. This code we could actually land and should. I think this would be a commit along the way. You could land it, but it's just dead code. So. Cool. And then we'll actually be done, except for the fact that
that pattern doesn't work.
Yeah, like what's the remaining steps? And then I need to go, and you probably need to go too. But
yeah,
you fix me for patterns. We need.
I added a couple things for diagnostics.
Code.
Yeah, improve diagnostics a bit. So I think that sort of I've created tickets. I'll work and with Dhruv to make sure those go through.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm most worried about is optimization and measurements. That's the biggest unknown to me. I think that's probably out of scope for your work. I mean, if you all want to continue, I would be thrilled.
Yeah.
But like, I'm really hoping to get to, if we get this done, that would be fantastic, right? Like the fixed patterns is relatively small. That would be the.
So I guess one good thing from your perspective is we have academic standing in this. So it basically we will do this. But the idea is we will kind of still aim to get it done by December, because starting, or like at least early December, because then people just kind of vacation and stuff on end of December. And also just like us having to do less things related to this during a school term will kind of reduce some amount of just work that we have and like focus on other things.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of motivation to get this done on time.
Right. And I realized that like before we can really call this done, we're going to have to fix the closure, borrow checker, diagnostics.
Yes. So those tickets, I did something around it. So, well, I created a PR so that we start tracking a little bit more information when min capture lands.
That might be like, this might be worth highlighting because I think it's separable.
Like yeah, so that work is happening in parallel to at least track that information, because that's just like, oh, add another field to how we store captures today. Another thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know how much time we have, and I probably should leave in like 10 minutes ish, is maybe we can, okay, this is like part of optimization, maybe for later, but I don't see us using too much out of the place itself. So we have a lot of extra information there, I guess. Well, not a lot, but we store the type of basically at every axis at each field. I do not know if we really need it on the surface. I don't see why. I could be wrong. At least after type check.
What information are you referring to?
So when in her, every time we apply a projection, we store the type of it. I did not know if we need it for capture and analysis. So we can probably store some in less amount of information.
I think
like it's for later. It's an optimization on storage, but that's one thing that was on my mind. And also we can remove, like instead of using place directly, we can kind of take those fields, put them in directly, because otherwise every time we use place, there's that check of, oh, if the thing we're working with is a up for place, or is it otherwise we got to bug out. So
right, yeah, you might not need it. You're right, you might not need it. You might need it later when we're building mirror places.
Okay.
Either you would need it when you build mirror places, or it depends on how we do that, because like if we took the approach I outlined initially, then so let me back up a second. The reason you need the type information is that sometimes it's not reconstructible because of associated type normalization.
Okay, I see.
You can't just take the type from the struct. Like ideally, you would take the type from the struct declaration of the field and just do a substitution. But that doesn't always, or that always works, but then you have to normalize, and sometimes that's annoying and inconvenient. So instead, we keep it. But it's true that it will also, but you won't necessarily need it in the here place, because it's already in the expression, like it's in the T here. And so you can get it from there. So yeah, we could maybe take it out. I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah, it could be a later optimization that I just thought about, like just save some space. But yeah, all right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, look forward to it. Talk to you later.
All right, see ya. How do I end this? How do I end?